All right, San Antonio, let's talk. You know I love you. And you know how hyped I am to once again be broadcasting to you every day. That has been a very, very important market to me over the years. So I'm hyped to be back home. But I'm definitely not hyped to have to talk about what happened to your alien unicorn last night. This was me watching your alien unicorn napping it out under the hoop. Wemby!
Wemby!
Oh no, not him, not him. I was half Stacey King, half Adam Rank.
Looking for a lead. Yeah, he got it. Gotta get back. They have no timeouts though.
Seriously though, you never ever want to see anybody bounce their face. Oh no, Adam Rank, not him. You never want to see anybody bounce their face off the floor like they're dribbling a basketball. Like this dude's crossing dudes over with his face. He's breaking ankles with his own face. It was terrible. You don't ever want to see that happen to anybody, but especially the future face of the entire league. Not one of the most entertaining players ever in just his 6th career quarter of playoff basketball. Not that guy. No, not that guy. You want the future face of the league and the recently anointed unanimously Defensive Player of the Year, front and center in these playoffs. You do not want the future face of the league skidding across the floor, bouncing across the floor like a basketball on the hardwood. The basketball floor is supposed to be for bouncing basketballs and not heads. Unfortunately for San Antonio, and you know what, really for all of us, the playoffs may have just taken a dramatic turn when Wemby's head took a dramatic smash off the floor in the second quarter last night.
They get a stop, and it's off in transition. Sharp walk-in three here.
Wemby thought about walking into one as well. Moving on, Holiday, trying to pull the chair, get out of the way. Wembanyama to the deck. Foul on Holiday.
And I think he did pull the chair, too. It looked like Wemby might have been a little bit out of control there.
Victor takes a moment. Not sure if his face hit first on the floor as he went down.
Oh, he's dazed.
Dazed, yeah.
He is dazed.
You think, Reg? You think he's dazed? You think he's a little dazed? Because he tried to get up and he fell down? No, he's dazed. In fact, he's more than dazed. He is jacked up because his face did indeed hit first when he landed. In fact, this is basically the definition of a face-first landing. This is a textbook face planting if you have ever seen one. And it was a double face plant. Not to be confused with the double champ, but a double face plant. It's brutal. This is about the very last image any Spurs fan ever wants to see. And just when Spurs fan thought that it was safe to get really excited once again, just when Spurs fan thought it was all lining up, that they might even be ahead of their time, ahead of their schedule, that they might go on an epic run this year. I mean, they've already reclaimed their spot among the NBA elite already. But they look like they were ready and that they were on a collision course with OKC. Not saying that it's all canceled. The last thing I'm going to do is count Wemby or the Spurs out. I want to be clear about that. I'm not saying that series is over. But as we know, concussions are very scary. There's a lot of unknown. Here's what we do know, though. He's not being treated for anything other than a concussion, so that's good. In other words, his face is not shattered. He didn't break his face. That's good. He didn't break his jaw. That's good. He didn't break his nose. That's good. But he's concussed. Now, what does that mean in the NBA? We always hear about the NFL. This player is in the protocol. That player is in the protocol. You don't hear it in the NBA as much. So what is the NBA protocol? Here is the NBA concussion protocol as explained by Shams. Quote, per NBA guidelines, Wembanyama cannot return to full participation for 48 hours, but can resume gradual activity in 24 hours as long as his symptoms don't worsen. Then he must hit several benchmarks while being symptom-free before he is cleared to play. He'll then require clearance from a team doctor in consultation with the league protocol director. All right, 2 thoughts on that. Number 1, if you do the math, technically, potentially, if all goes perfectly, he could be cleared in time to play in Game 3 on Friday night. Now, I'm not going to say that's going to happen because he may not clear all those protocols. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. Here's the other thing. How do the Spurs want to handle this? It's one thing to get clearance. It's another to consider, all right, we have our next Hall of Famer. We have our franchise player. We have the face of the league. Do we want to rush this guy back in so we can win this series? So we can make a run this year? Maybe, depending on what the doctors say, depending on how he feels. But San Antonio obviously has to make their own decision too. So it's possible, and I'm not saying that the series is over if he doesn't come back. But I'm saying there is cause for concern. That was a pretty horrifying thing to see. Now, we don't necessarily have to go all Ghana guy and sad Top Gun music guy yet. Unfortunately, we saw how they looked without him. They hung in for a minute.
Ghana.
It came down to the end of the game. But what we saw at the end of the game was pretty horrifying. Almost as horrifying as seeing Wemby's head bouncing across the floor. Spurs fan had to sit through watching Wemby's dome turn into a basketball, and then they had to sit through the Spurs blowing that 14-point fourth quarter lead to actually lose the home court and game 2. According to ESPN, and I know I trot these numbers out a lot, but the Spurs' win probability was 98.4% with under 8 minutes to go. And then from that moment on, the Blazers outscored them 24-8 to close out that game, win by 3. So, really, thanks, Avi, it's like the Spurs fan got brutally kicked in the stick twice last night. Wemby woke up today with a really sore dome, and Spurs fan woke up today with a really sore package.
Kicking the stick.
Bounced his face off the dome twice, and Spurs fan got kicked in the stick twice. So disappointing for sure to blow that game. Now, on the one hand, it's kind of understandable, right? When you see your franchise player napping it out on the floor, the potential MVP, their MVP, one of the most important players in franchise history already. When you see that guy napping it out on the floor, that would be tough to come back from. But they still did lead from that point on all the way until the last 2 minutes of the game. They just let Scoot and the Time Lord and the Hebrew Hammer and Grandpa Drew Holiday rip it from them in crunch time. So credit to the Blazers for taking advantage with Wemby gone. They're not the same team. As I mentioned earlier in the program, they're not the same team without this guy. Not offensively, not defensively. They're not the same organization without this guy. I'm going to argue San Antonio as a town is not the same town without this guy. That's how important Wemby is to everybody and everything. Everything runs through this guy. Everything. Offense, defense, life, the boardwalk. Everything. They got to get him back. Honestly, I hate to say it, I could see them losing that series if he's down for any extended period of time. That's how different they are without him. That's how important he is to them. So now we wait and see. As for you, Portland, damn, you get your own kind of drama going on right now, and it's got nothing to do with players being hurt. Most of it stems from your brand new owner, Tom Dundon. And accusations that he's, how do I put this, cheap as hell. Even though he just scratched a check for $4.25 billion with a B for the franchise. Not just cheap as hell, but also actively speaking to other head coaches, other head coaching candidates, even though he has a coach currently employed. even though he has a coach currently employed and coaching in a playoff series. I mean, dude, I know that you're new to the NBA, but you're not new to professional sports. How do you not know how bad that form is? He obviously does not care at all. Thiago Splitter is technically just the interim head coach, but the guy's in the middle of doing a hell of a job. He's doing a great job. He's the interim coach of a team that's in a playoff series right now, tied with the Spurs. And yet his owner is actively talking to other candidates while this guy's still employed. While he's still employed and in the playoffs. And despite that, he's got to look over his shoulder as the owner is engaging with and flirting with other candidates. Or more accurately, lowballing everybody, apparently. I think Splitter himself and all these other candidates that he's trying to talk to. Michael Malone, maybe. I don't know. Reportedly, was talking to Michael Malone and offered him half of what North Carolina gave him. I mean, hey, Dundon, I guess all he can say is no, right? And what if he says yes? This dude doesn't care. It's not how many no's. I learned this in sales, even though I sucked at sales. It's not how many no's. All you need is one big yes. So just keep lowballing everybody and see if you can get that one big yes. Apparently, according to reports, this dude is way more concerned in finding a cheap coach than a very good coach. But then when you see all the reports, he's interested in finding a cheap everything. So why would he not be looking for a cheap coach? But in the meantime, in terms of form and protocol, his team is still in the playoffs, and he's actively looking for another head coach, and he's not trying to hide it. He's doing it in broad daylight. I mean, what are you going to get for that money? Who are you going to hire? I don't know. Who's next? Portland woman?
Well, you know what? We got this phenomenon up here in Oregon, and I call it Portland woman. Portland woman, she doesn't shave, she doesn't clean up. They put her on TV.
There she is.
Turn on any Portland channel with local show.
There's your next head coach.
Portland woman,
Blazer fan.
Off her stuff,
Portland
hair,
woman. There she is.
makeup,
Are you watching on the
all
stream?
boot,
Finally, a
and the clothing
Portland
is
woman
something else.
sighting.
You can see the stain. So, anyways, to Portland woman, please do us all a favor and clean it up. That's all I got, Romy.
I mean, even a pro like Drew Holiday, you going to tell me he wouldn't want to run through a wall for Portland woman? Who wouldn't want to run through a wall for that? And no offense, Thiago. How amazing would those pressers be? If you're listening on the radio, on the stream, we have a picture of Portland woman as head coach. Just piecing out. I've got more thoughts on the Blazers. The fact that they're even still in this thing, given all the drama surrounding them and how cheap their new owner is incredible. Hey, look, I'm not saying waste money. I'm not saying spend money foolishly. I'm saying they're having people check out of hotels. They're no longer allowing late checkout times because they want to save money. So players, an NBA franchise. Did you buy an NBA franchise or did you buy a laundromat? Did you buy an NBA franchise or did you buy a Subway sandwich place? Did you buy an NBA franchise or a car wash? Car washes are actually pretty expensive. A car wash with a dog wash and a fabrication company on the side.